Learners and leaders, I am so glad you're here today. We're going to talk about weather. Specifically, what makes a thunderstorm? You want to learn what makes one? Come on, let's go. Learners and leaders, for the past couple weeks, I've been reading Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. In the town of Chew and Swallow, all of their food comes in via weather. It rains syrup and it snows mashed potatoes. Thunderstorms bring in hamburgers. I'm wondering what kind of a storm front brings in hamburgers. But until we figure that out, let's talk about what makes a regular storm front. Have you ever been in the middle of a thunderstorm? Sometimes it feels like the sky just opens up. But sometimes we can see the storm building for miles and miles. We can see those clouds rolling and building and getting bigger and bigger. What is happening with those rolling, building clouds? Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can find out. To make our storm front, here's what we're going to need. Water. Tap water is totally fine. You'll need both lukewarm and just regular room temperature. You'll need food coloring. I'm using pink and blue. You use whatever colors you want. They do just need to be two fairly distinct colors. And some kind of a clear container. That's it. That's all you're going to need. The first thing we're going to do is make our cold front, or our ice cubes. What we're going to do is just take some blue food coloring, a container with some water in it. We're going to drop a few drops of blue food coloring into that container. Go ahead, put the lid on it, give it a shake. We have blue water. Put this in your freezer overnight and we will have blue ice. This blue ice is going to represent our cold front. Cold front is a fancy word that means a huge amount of cold air moving into an area. Has it ever been super warm and sunny one day and then the next day it's cold and snowy? Has that ever happened where you live? Happens all the time where I live. And what happens there is that a huge mass of cold air moves in, pushes the warm air out, and makes it cold where we're at. When you're ready to start your exploration, go ahead and get some lukewarm tap water. That means water that's just above room temperature. It should feel kind of warm, but not hot. And then pour that water into a clear container. All right. Now what we're going to do is add some pink food coloring to one end of the container. This pink food coloring is going to represent our warm front. A warm front is just like a cold front, except this time it's in reverse. Warm air is pushing cold air out of the way, changing it from cold and snowy to warmer. All right, we have our pink water on this end representing our warm front. Now we're going to very gently add our cold front. And we're going to watch what happens. See how the cold blue water slides under the warm pink water? That's because heat rises. The warm water rises to the top and the cold blue sinks to the bottom. See this spot right here where we have the mixing of pink and blue? That spot right there is where thunderstorms are born. So what's happening here? When hot air and cold air collide, they create air that's unstable. Unstable air is what happens when those two air masses collide. Remember in our water when it was mixing and swirling and rolling? That's unstable air. The unstable air keeps rolling and it builds higher and higher. As it builds higher, the water that's in the clouds condenses. Condense is a fancy name for what happens when water or any other substance or molecule moves from a gas into a liquid. If you want more information on states of matter and how that happens, you can watch the video that I made about it. I'll put a link in the description. So, as the clouds get bigger and bigger, the water that's in those clouds condenses And as it condenses, it gets too heavy to stay in the sky and it falls out of the clouds, creating rain. The larger and more rolling and more unpredictable and unstable that air gets, the larger the thunderstorms are. And that's what we're seeing when we see those big rolling clouds. We are seeing the warm front and the cold front come together, mix, create rain and thunderstorms. Learners and leaders, look at all the cool stuff you learned today. We didn't learn what kind of a storm front makes hamburgers, but what we did learn probably is a lot more useful. We learned about cold fronts and warm fronts. We learned about unstable air and condensation. We learned about how all those things come together to make thunderstorms. So cool, right? If you want more activities inspired by Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, have your grown-ups go to my website. I'll put the link in the description, and they can look for the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs activity packs. Go ahead and like and subscribe so you can come along next time we go on an adventure, and share this video with a friend so they can come along too. Have a great day, learners and leaders!